I canceled the first vacation I'd planned in 10 years because my parents said money was tight. I didn't argue. I just wanted to be considerate. 2 weeks later, I found cruise tickets with all of them on it. My sister, her husband, their kids, everyone but me. And not one person said a word. I'm telling you this from my kitchen in Ohio, but I wonder where you're watching from right now. Maybe you're in California, or Texas, or somewhere I've never been. Drop your city in the comments. I want to know who's listening to this story, because I have a feeling some of you know exactly what this feels like. Now, let me tell you what happened the day everything fell apart. It was a Thursday afternoon in March when I called my mother about the vacation. I'd saved for 3 years, 3 years of overtime shifts at the hospital, 3 years of skipping lunch to put away an extra 20 here, 30 there. Nothing fancy, just a week in Sedona. Red rocks, hiking trails, maybe a spa day if I could swing it. God, I needed it. After everything with the divorce, after losing Dad's sister who practically raised me, after 2 years of pandemic nursing that left me hollowed out like someone had scooped out my insides with a spoon. Mom, I said, I finally booked it. April 15th through the 22nd. I'm actually doing it. The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought we'd been disconnected. Oh, honey, she finally said. And I knew. I just knew. This really isn't a good time. Your father's medical bills from his procedure, and we're helping Katie with the kids' school expenses, and the roof needs replacing before summer. Katie, my younger sister, the one who married money but somehow always needed more. I'm not asking you to pay for it, Mom. I saved up. I just wanted you to know. But what if we need you? What if something happens? You know how tight things are right now. It just seems irresponsible to be spending money on a vacation when the family is struggling. The family. Not my family. The family. I canceled the reservation that night, lost the deposit, but what else was new? I'd been losing pieces of myself for years. What was another $400? 2 weeks later, I stopped by their house to drop off Dad's medications. The pharmacy was near their place, not mine, but I always picked them up anyway. Save them the trip, save them the gas money that was apparently so precious. They weren't home, probably at Katie's, watching the kids. They practically live there these days. I used my key to let myself in, put the medications on the kitchen counter where Mom would see them. That's when I noticed the folder. Royal Caribbean. My mother had left it right there, next to her coffee maker, like it was nothing, like it was a grocery list, or a water bill. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But I did. 7-day Western Caribbean cruise. 4 adult passages, 2 children. The dates? April 14th through the 21st. My hands shook as I read the names. Mom, Dad, Katie, Brian, Katie's husband, Addison, Mason, departing from Galveston, balcony rooms, the drink package, the whole thing. I sat down on my mother's kitchen stool, the one with the wobbly leg she always complained about but never fixed, and I stared at those tickets like they were written in a foreign language. Like maybe if I looked hard enough, the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. They'd booked it 3 months ago. 3 months. Before Dad's procedure. Before the roof supposedly needed replacing. Before I'd even mentioned Sedona. I took a photo with my phone. I don't know why. Evidence, maybe. Proof that I wasn't crazy, that this was real. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it and left. For 2 weeks, I waited for someone to mention it. Surely Mom would slip up, say something about packing or needing sunscreen. Surely Katie would post something on Facebook about being excited. Surely someone would realize the cruelty of what they'd done and at least try to explain. Nothing. Instead, Mom called me the day before they left, the day before I was supposed to be driving to Sedona, and asked if I could watch their dog. We're going to Katie's mother-in-law's place in Houston for a few days, she said. You know, for Easter. Small family thing. Small family thing. I can't, I said. I have to work. On Easter weekend? That's terrible. You work too much, honey. You need to take better care of yourself. I hung up and threw my phone across the room. It survived. I kind of wished it hadn't. They posted the pictures. Of course. Not right away, they waited until they got back. Katie shared them in the family group chat. I was still inexplicably part of amazing memories with the family, she captioned it. Sunset photos, formal dinner shots, the kids with Mickey Mouse on the Disney private island. I liked every single photo, commented, looks fun, with a smiley face, played the game. But inside, something had broken. Not dramatically, not all at once. More like a slow leak in a tire, the kind you don't notice until you're on the side of the highway at 2 a.m. wondering how you got there. The thing about being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who never asks for much, people start to think you don't need much. They start to think you're fine with crumbs. And maybe you are, for a while. You tell yourself it's love, this constant giving. You tell yourself it's what good daughters do. But then you find cruise tickets, and you realize you're not even worth lying to properly. 3 months passed. 3 months of Sunday dinners where I smiled and passed the potatoes and asked about the kids' soccer games. 3 months of picking up prescriptions and groceries when mom's hip was acting up. 3 months of being the same old reliable Rachel while inside I was screaming. The night mom showed up at my door, it was raining. Not a dramatic storm, just steady September rain, the kind that makes everything smell like wet earth and regret. I heard her car pull up but didn't move from my couch. She had to knock 3 times before I answered. She looked small standing there, smaller than I remembered. Her raincoat was too big. Dad's probably, and her face was all blotchy like she'd been crying the whole drive over. "You haven't been answering my calls," she said. "I've been busy." "Too busy for your mother?" I wanted to laugh. Actually, I did laugh. Just a short, sharp sound that made her flinch. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. What else was I going to do? Turn away my crying mother in the rain? I wasn't built for that kind of cruelty, even after everything. She sat on my couch, the same spot where I'd spent nights Googling golden child syndrome and family scapegoat dynamic, and crying over Reddit posts from other forgotten daughters. She looked around my apartment like she'd never seen it before. Maybe she hadn't, really. When was the last time she'd been here? 2 years? 3? "I don't understand what's happening," she said. "You've pulled away from the family. Katie says you barely talk to her anymore. You missed Mason's birthday party." I was working. "You're always working." "Yes," I said. "I am. That's what happens when you don't have a husband with a trust fund and parents who pay for your kids' private school." She recoiled like I'd slapped her. "We didn't talk about money in our family. Not directly. We danced around it, spoke in code about tough times and being responsible and helping each other out. But we never ever acknowledged the reality of who helped whom." "That's not fair," she whispered. "Isn't it? Katie has children. It's different. It's always different for Katie." She started crying then, really crying, the kind that makes your whole body shake. Part of me wanted to comfort her. The old me would have apologized, made tea, told her everything was fine. But I just sat there in my second-hand armchair and waited. "I don't know what you want from me," she finally said. "I wanted to go to Sedona." The words hung between us like a physical thing. She went very still. "You could have gone. We never said you couldn't go. You said money was tight. You said it was irresponsible. You guilt-tripped me into canceling. We were just being practical. You were on a cruise." The silence that followed was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. She knew that I knew. I could see it in the way her shoulders dropped, the way her hands clutched at Dad's raincoat. "That was different," she said quietly. "Katie planned that, for our anniversary, as a gift. Your anniversary is in November. An early gift. That you paid for. How did you—" I saw the tickets. The ones you booked 3 months before you told me money was tight. The ones with everyone's names on them but mine. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, like a fish drowning in air. "We didn't think you'd want to go," she finally said. "You don't like cruises, you get seasick. I get car sick reading in the back seat. That's not the same as seasick. And you didn't ask. You could have asked to come. I didn't know there was a cruise to ask about. You told me you were going to Houston. We had a layover in Houston." I stood up. I couldn't sit anymore. My body felt electric, like touching anything might create sparks. "Do you even hear yourself?" I asked. "Do you hear the gymnastics you're doing right now to avoid saying the truth?" "What truth?" "That you didn't want me there." "That's not—" "Mom?" I turned to face her. "Please, just this once. Don't lie to me." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and for a moment I saw something flicker across her face. Recognition, maybe, or fear. "You're so angry all the time," she said, instead. "You've always been so angry. Ever since you were little. Katie was easy, but you were always upset about something, always making things harder than they needed to be." I wasn't angry. I was hurt. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, you've been punishing this family for years with your moods, your distance, your judgment. My distance? I laughed again, but this time it hurt coming out. I pick up Dad's medications every week. I drove Katie to her prenatal appointments when Brian was traveling. I spent every holiday for the past decade at your house, cooking in your kitchen, cleaning up while everyone else watched football. But sure, I'm distant. You do those things, but you're not really there. Not really with us. It's like you're performing a role. She wasn't wrong. I had been performing the role of the good daughter, the reliable sister, the one who needed nothing and gave everything. Oscar worthy, really, except nobody was watching. You want to know why I wasn't really there? I asked. Because every time I tried to be there, be myself, it was wrong. My opinions were too strong. My laugh was too loud. My needs were too much. So I learned to be less, to need less, to take up less space. And you all seemed pretty happy with that arrangement until I stopped answering my phone. She was sobbing now, but it was different from before. Quieter, defeated. I don't know how to fix this, she said. I don't think you do fix it, I said. I think this is just what it is. So what? You're just gonna cut us out? Your family? I sat back down, suddenly exhausted. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. No, I said. But I'm done pretending. I'm done being reliable Rachel who never needs anything. I'm done canceling my life for a family that plans vacations without me. It was one cruise. It was everything, Mom. It was always everything. Katie's wedding in Cabo that you paid for while telling me you couldn't help with my student loans. The family reunion you forgot to tell me about until after it happened. The group chat I found out about from Mason, who asked why I never responded to Grandma's funny memes. It's been a lifetime of being an afterthought, and I'm just done. She stood up, Dad's raincoat making swishing sounds. So that's it? You're giving up on us? No, I said. I'm choosing me. For once I'm choosing me. She left without saying goodbye, just walked out into the rain and drove away. I watched from my window as her taillights disappeared, and I waited to feel something. Regret, maybe, or panic. But all I felt was relief. The next morning, Katie called. I let it go to voicemail. Rachel, Mom told me about your conversation. I think you're being really unfair. We didn't exclude you on purpose. It just happened. And honestly, you've always been so independent. We didn't think you'd even want to be stuck on a boat with the kids for a week. Call me back. I didn't call her back. Dad texted, Your mother is upset. This is killing her. Please be reasonable. Reasonable. There's that word again. The family anthem. Be reasonable, Rachel. Which really meant be convenient, be compliant, be less. I went to Sedona the next month, booked a last-minute deal, used my credit card, figured I'd pay it off eventually. Spent a week hiking alone, sitting in Red Rock canyons, watching sunsets that looked like the world was on fire. On my third day there, I met a woman at a coffee shop. She was probably 70, traveling alone, had this energy about her like she'd figured something out the rest of us were still working on. First time in Sedona? She asked. First time anywhere, really, I said. I mean, alone. Ah, she said, like that explained everything. Let me guess. Divorce or death? Neither. Family stuff, she nodded. Sometimes that's worse. At least with death, there's closure. We talked for 2 hours. She told me about her daughter who only called when she needed money, her son who forgot she existed unless his wife reminded him to call on Mother's Day, the grandchildren she saw twice a year if she was lucky. When did you stop trying? I asked. Who says I stopped? She smiled. I just started trying differently. I tried for me instead of them. Took trips I wanted to take, made friends who actually liked me, built a life that wasn't waiting for them to notice me. And it worked? I'm here, aren't I? In Sedona, drinking overpriced coffee, talking to a stranger about things I never told my family. You tell me if it worked. She left me with her email. Said to let her know if I ever made it to Portland. Said she had a guest room and knew all the best breakfast places. I never told my family about her. About any of it, really. The trip became mine, separate from them, untouched by their opinions or needs or convenient truths. When I got back, there were 17 missed calls. 4 from Mom, 6 from Katie, 7 from Dad. The voicemails progressed from concerned to angry to concerned again. The family cycle. I texted the group chat. I'm fine, was traveling, Need some space to process everything. Will reach out when I'm ready. Katie responded immediately. Process what? Mom crying? You're being dramatic. Dad, this is getting out of hand. Mom, I love you. I left the chat. That was 6 months ago. They still text sometimes. Individual messages now, since I left the group. Mom sends Bible verses about forgiveness. Dad sends news articles he thinks I'd find interesting, never mentioning the elephant in the room. Katie sends photos of the kids with captions like they miss their Aunt Rachel. I respond sometimes. Send happy birthday texts. Liked Mason's school concert video, but I don't go to Sunday dinners anymore. Don't pick up the prescriptions. Don't apologize for existing. And the cruise? They're planning another one. I know because Mom accidentally sent me the booking confirmation last month. Then immediately texted, that wasn't meant for you, but you're welcome to come if you want. If I want. I didn't respond, but I did book another trip to Sedona. Same week they'll be cruising. This time I'm staying 10 days. I'm taking the hot air balloon ride. I'm doing the spa day. I'm spending money I shouldn't spend on a life I absolutely should live. Because here's what I learned, sitting in that coffee shop in Sedona, talking to a stranger who saw me more clearly than my family ever did. Some people are meant to be main characters in your story, and some people are meant to be lessons. The trick is knowing when someone has shifted from one to the other. My family taught me a lot. They taught me that love can be conditional, even when it claims not to be. They taught me that being reliable is only valuable if you're reliable for the right people. They taught me that some tables will never have a place set for you, no matter how many times you help cook the meal. But most importantly, they taught me that I can survive without their approval, that I can build a life without their permission, that I can be whole without their validation. The woman in Sedona was right. This isn't closure, not really. There's no clean ending, no moment of reconciliation, no dramatic finale where everyone realizes what they've lost. There's just me, slowly learning to stop waiting for them to see me, learning to stop needing them to see me. My therapist says I'm grieving. Not them, exactly, because they're still alive, still texting, still extending half-hearted invitations to things they've already planned without me. I'm grieving the family I thought I had, the family I kept trying to earn my way into, the family that existed in my head but never in reality. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what growing up really is, not getting older, but getting honest about who people are, about who you are to them, about who you're willing to be. I still have the photo of those cruise tickets on my phone. Sometimes I look at it, not with anger anymore, but with something closer to gratitude, because those tickets told me the truth when no one else would. They showed me exactly where I stood, or didn't stand, in the family portrait. I'm not angry anymore. Anger takes energy. I'd rather spend on myself, on trips to places they'd never think to invite me, on friends who include me in their plans, not as an afterthought but as a given, on building a life that doesn't require me to be less so that others can feel like more. But sometimes, late at night, when Mom texts another Bible verse or Katie sends another photo, I wonder what would have happened if I'd never seen those tickets. If I'd kept canceling my plans, kept picking up prescriptions, kept showing up to dinners where my absence was barely noticed but my presence was required. I'd probably still be there, in that kitchen, with the wobbly stool, listening to stories about vacations I wasn't invited on, smiling, nodding, disappearing in plain sight. Instead, I'm here, in my apartment that Mom thinks is too small but I think is just right, planning trips to places I've always wanted to see, living a life that would horrify them with its selfishness but feels to me like the first honest thing I've ever done. They still don't understand why I pulled away. In their version of the story, I'm the villain who abandoned the family over a silly misunderstanding about a cruise. They tell people I'm going through something, that I'll come around, that I've always been difficult. And maybe they're right. Maybe I am difficult. Maybe choosing yourself in a family that expects you to choose them is the most difficult thing you can do. But I did it anyway. And tomorrow, when I wake up, I'll do it again. That's my story. That's my truth. Not the one they'd tell, but the only one I know how to live.